So recently I kind of went through a little phase where I was feeling burnt out, overwhelmed, stressed, anxious every day. It felt like everything that I had to do, even like just very simple stuff like washing the dishes, doing laundry, like just anything in life, it felt like I was climbing a mountain. Just felt like so hard to do. And I ended up like literally just doing nothing for many days, like almost 2 weeks. Like I couldn't film any YouTube videos, couldn't do any art, couldn't reply to anyone, like couldn't do anything. I just felt very stressed and overwhelmed. And I realized, I just had too many things on my plate. I was pressuring myself way too much. I was preparing for some trips that are coming up. Everything was just too much, and I was putting too much pressure on myself. And I became really uninspired. And I think this is one ways you can become uninspired, is just being burnt out and being overwhelmed by something in life. Regardless of the reason of why you're feeling uninspired, there can be many reasons for that. I think there's ways to deal with it. And I'll share with you kind of my experiences and things that I've done in the past and in the recent, very, very recent past of how to deal with this uninspiration, this kind of down feeling. And one of the biggest things that I did recently is just to embrace it. And I've done this in the past too, actually, many years ago. There was times where I was feeling completely uninspired with art, and I really felt like I didn't know where to go with my art at all. So I just completely gave up. I was like, I'm done with art. And I just started focusing on something else. I started like playing a lot of chess and just got really consumed with playing chess and like learning these different strategies. And I think it was like working out a different part of my brain other than like the part of the brain that I use when I create art. I think I just needed a break from art, and I took a break maybe like 3 or 4 months. It was like a long break from creating anything. And I'm not saying that you have to go that long or that it's going to take that long for you. It may only take a week for you, or maybe 2 weeks. Who knows? Every time frame, everybody's different. But one of the best things that can be done sometimes is just to accept the reality, just embrace it. Like if you're feeling uninspired and you realize it, just go with the flow, man. Just embrace it, accept it, and realize that, okay, maybe I can just focus on something else for a while. Try to find a different hobby, find something else that you're passionate about, something else that you're interested in. Even if it's just like watching movies or something, like that can be a useful experience as well, because you're interacting with these different stories that you can come across. And it can kind of trigger something. You never know. There can be some small thing like that, like watching a movie, that can trigger you to do something else and to actually get you inspired again in the future. So you never know what's going to lead you back to that inspiration to create art again. It's very interesting, kind of navigating the ups and downs of your own emotions and how you feel about creating art. And for me, I just accept the reality that, I try to accept the reality that there are going to be these ups and downs. And sometimes I deny that fact. And I realize that when I deny reality, that's when I feel overwhelmed. That's when I feel down, is when I'm just denying it rather than just accepting it. If you just accept the reality, you'll feel better. You'll realize like, okay, right now at this moment in time, it's just not meant for me to create. It's not meant for me to put energy into my art right now. I need a break. I need to relax my brain, rest my mind, and kind of re-energize the creative batteries, so to speak. And sometimes that's necessary. You need rest. Your brain needs rest to process things. So it's very useful. And something else that's pretty useful, this can also be helpful for getting your inspiration back, is Skillshare. So I want to say thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring today's video. And I would definitely recommend checking out Skillshare to check out the courses and stuff on there. So yeah, here's a little bit about Skillshare. So if you're unfamiliar with Skillshare, it's an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for those who love learning and wanting to explore their creativity and also learning new skills. I usually use Skillshare to learn more about like animation, graphic design, and photography. I use these skills every day in my day job as a graphic designer, and I've noticed over the years it's really helped me take my skills to the next level. And one class in particular that's really been helpful for me, and I've gone back to it many times, is Animating with Ease by Jake Bartlett. This guy really knows his stuff, and he made the content like super easy to digest, really broken down into simple bits. It's really helped me with my graphic design, my work projects, my video editing, and also with adding little animations and things to my YouTube videos and make them much better. So the cool thing about Skillshare is that all the videos are ad-free, so you can stay in the zone while exploring new skills. They launch new premium classes each week, and the entire catalog is now available with subtitles with Spanish, French, Portuguese, and German. So the first 1,000 people to use the link in the description or my code SchaeferArt will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So yeah, I really think Skillshare could be helpful for getting your inspiration back, trying a different hobby, figuring out something new, something different. Like if you're used to drawing all the time, like try to figure out, get into photography, maybe even just using, almost everybody has a smartphone nowadays. You can just do photography with your smartphone and just go outside, try to practice doing different compositions and stuff, but just taking photos of things rather than drawing. And that's something that could be beneficial in the future, because if you start getting into photography, it's going to help your drawing later on. It's going to help your composition, and you'll have a lot of good photos to draw from, to use as references. So you could choose a hobby that kind of goes in line with creating art, or you could choose something completely different. Get into something completely different, like get into sports or get into hiking or riding a bike, doing something else, doing yoga. That's something that I try to do on like a daily or weekly basis. I try to go outside, go into nature, go for walks. I try to let my brain process things, process everything about my business and YouTube and art and everything. I try to give myself a break from all that, because sometimes it's really necessary to step back from everything, take a break, really reflect on everything, do a lot of journaling. I like to do journaling and stuff, and just really write out my thoughts when I'm feeling overwhelmed. I just try to get everything out of your head. It's really helpful for dealing with inspiration, things like that. I feel motivation. If you really just let everything out, a few weeks ago, or when I was feeling overwhelmed, I ended up missing my YouTube schedule that I wanted to do at the time, and I felt really overwhelmed, and I needed to write a newsletter that was going to be sent out the next day, and I was just feeling so overwhelmed, and I thought it was going to be my worst newsletter ever, because I was just kind of journaling my thoughts about what I was going through and the struggle I was going through, and I just wanted to share it with everyone. And luckily it ended up being, surprisingly, it ended up being one of my best newsletters to date. I got the most responses, the most reactions and replies and support from everybody. And it was just very interesting, just being honest and sharing my struggle was something that was actually really good that I thought was going to be terrible. So a lot of this stuff is just, it's made up in your own mind. If you're feeling negative or overwhelmed, you just got to get it out of your head and try to be positive and do something else. Focus your energy on something else, and eventually you'll get back to what really inspires you. And you can also look at other people's art and stuff. Take this time to reflect and look at other art, look at other things, enjoy other things about life, and that'll get you back to absorbing, that kind of inspiration that's going to inspire you and motivate you to create more. So that's kind of where I'm at with things. I've been just relaxing and resting, and now I'm getting back into creating more, and it feels good. I feel re-energized. So anyway, hope this video helped you out. Hope you realize that you're not alone out there. This happens to everybody. Every great artist out there struggles with this kind of uninspired feeling, this kind of demotivation, but you'll get back into it. Just trust the process and embrace it. That's really one of the main things to do, is just embrace the feeling you're having right now. Anyway, take care of yourself. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.